Our featured story is about how Trump has condemned Marjorie Taylor Greene and now Thomas Massie. And this is a little referendum on what Trumpism is now. This is what MAGA has become. Think about the events of the past 3 weeks, the past 10 months. So who is inside MAGA? Ben Shapiro, Mark Levin, Josh Hammer, Randy Fine. What are they saying? Kill them all. No Palestinian is innocent. Bomb Iran. Europeans are anti-Semitic in their DNA. That's all fine. That's all good. That's good stuff. And that's all MAGA. And who's not MAGA anymore? Tucker Carlson, who says blood guilt is not Christian. Marjorie Taylor Greene, who says, I'm America first. I'm putting my constituents first. Candace Owens, who says, I want to get to the bottom of the death of my friend. And me. And we'll go through the post. Today, Trump posted twice on Truth Social. His first disavowal against Thomas Massie, his second against Marjorie Greene. He writes the following about Thomas Massie, quote, did Thomas Massie, sometimes referred to as Rand Paul Jr. because of the fact that he always votes against the GOP, get married already? Boy, that was quick. No wonder the polls have him at less than an 8% chance of winning the election. Anyway, have a great life, Thomas, and question mark. His wife will soon find out that she's stuck with a loser. Then he writes about Marjorie Greene. This one's a bit longer. He says, I am withdrawing my support and endorsement of, quote, Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene of the great state of Georgia. Over the past few weeks, despite my creating record achievements for our country, including a total and complete victory on the shutdown, closed borders, low taxes, no men and women's sports or transgender for everyone, ending DEI, stopping Biden's record-setting inflation, biggest regulation cuts in history, stopping 8 wars, rebuilding our military, being respected by every country in the world, having trillions of dollars invested in the USA, having the hottest country anywhere in the world. And by the way, this part is just delusional. Does anybody feel like we're winning? And how much of this stuff is even a victory? Close the borders? Okay, after you let in 15 million illegal aliens in the past 8 years, oh, now you close the border? Oh, terrific. Stopped 8 wars. Are we counting Thailand and Cambodia? Who gives a fuck? We're at war with Iran. We're at war in Venezuela. We're at war in Ukraine. I think the wars we elected you to end were, the one in Ukraine and the Middle East, not Cambodia and Thailand or India and Pakistan or Congo and Rwanda. Low taxes for who? Corporations. You kept the taxes low for corporations. Anyway.
I mean, when Nick talks like that, like, he's so funny, I have to say this, but he actually has a good point. Like, Donald Trump is becoming a joke, right? Like, he is digging his own grave. And let me ask you this question. What did Donald Trump actually do for you? Because he promised that he would do so much for, like, the average Americans. But what did he actually do? And again, no, I'm not trying to attack Donald Trump over and over again. I know this channel is not about Donald Trump, but the past videos are about Donald Trump because, like, now he's a hot topic because every time it turns out that he is just a liar, the same as with the Epstein files, every time it literally turns out that Donald Trump is doing the opposite as what he promised us. So this is why it's so annoying. And I'm America first instead of him. He said he was America first, but it looks like he is America last all the time. But that's another discussion. But let me ask you this. What did Donald Trump actually do for you? I just want to hear some examples. I'm curious about, like, the people who are watching this, if they really still support Donald Trump. Because believe me, he promised us so many things and he delivered almost nothing. And no, I like Donald Trump. I said this multiple times, but I can't defend him any longer. Donald Trump is not there for you and for me. He is not America first. And every day after day, we can see the downfall of the MAGA movement, the downfall of Donald Trump. And believe me, this is just the beginning.
But this is just like the hollow, delusional narcissism, which is, sadly, it isn't even a character. It's just his personality. This is the preamble to the tweet. He goes on, he writes, all I see wacky Marjorie do is complain, complain, complain. It seemed to all begin when I sent her a poll stating that she should not run for senator or governor when she was at 12% and didn't have a chance. Unless, of course, she had my endorsement, which she wasn't about to get. She has told many people that she is upset I don't return her phone calls anymore. But with 219 congressmen, 53 senators, 24 cabinet members, 200 countries, I can't take a ranting lunatic's call every day. I understand that wonderful conservative people are thinking about primarying Marjorie in her district of Georgia, that they too are fed up with her and her antics, and if the right person runs, they will have my complete and unyielding support. She has gone far left, even doing The View with their low IQ, Republican-hating anchors. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Make America great again. Now, what is this really about? Why is Trump against Thomas Massie and Marjorie Greene? It is literally two things. Two reasons. Why are Thomas Massie and Marjorie Greene out of MAGA? What do they have in common? Why do I say because of the commonality? A lot of Trump defenders, a lot of Republican apparatchiks will say that the reason Trump is condemning Massie is because Massie doesn't vote with Republicans in Congress. Massie has a problem with Trump's agenda as a libertarian. That's what they argue in defense. They say, well, Thomas Massie happens to be against AIPAC and foreign aid to Israel, but the real reason is that he's this obstructionist. But that's not true of Marjorie Taylor Greene. Marjorie Taylor Greene has been one of Trump's strongest allies and a good friend of his since she got into Congress 5 years ago. So you can't say that about Marjorie Greene. You can say that Thomas Massie, and I would even argue there's some credibility to this. I think it's a pretext, but it's sort of a compelling one. You might argue that, well, Thomas Massie hasn't been specifically a great ally to Trump, but that cannot be said about Marjorie Greene. Marjorie Greene has always been a loyal supporter and defender of Trump and his agenda in Congress. So why is Trump condemning her and Massie? Well, there's a common denominator between them both, and it's not that they're against Trump's agenda. It's two things. One, they're both against foreign aid to Israel. Marjorie Greene, like Thomas Massie, has become extremely outspoken against all the U.S. aid to Israel, which, by the way, is what Trump's own doctrine calls for. If Trump says America first, and pursuant to his executive order, the State Department was ordered to review all foreign aid to every country, that review, that executive order, that policy should apply to Israel as well. But it didn't, and it hasn't. Out of all the countries that we give foreign aid to, the only country that kept getting their foreign aid was Israel.
Do you hear that? Isn't that suspicious? Isn't that kind of weird? And then people say, oh no, Donald Trump is not controlled by anyone or by another country. Oh no. Okay, but then explain me. Why are we only giving to this country? We still give money. And then Donald Trump says he is America first. But you're not America first if you give so much money, because believe me, they give billions. I don't know the exact number, but the last time I remember it was probably 68 billion what we gave to Israel. That's actually insane, right? How can you picture yourself as America first if you keep spending so much money on another country? Meanwhile, we don't get anything back for this. Maybe we only get problems back for this. Maybe we are literally getting dragged into World War III almost because of this. So meanwhile, we are paying for our own downfall, if you ask me. And this really has to stop, right? I'm getting so tired of the average Americans has to pay taxes. You and me, we have to work our ass off. We have to pay so many taxes. There's no money for you, there's no money for me to help us, but we give money for free to other countries like it's water. This is actually insane, right? And excuse me, I'm getting a little bit like frustrated about this fact, because I see so many Americans, they are suffering day after day, and we give billions away like it's nothing. And only to this country. Why? Seriously, if you know the answer, please share it with me, because I'm speechless about this. Only to this country we give so much money, and I'm not even talking about the resources and all the intelligence and everything else what we give to them. So much money. Meanwhile, here we have so many problems in our own country. Literally, you cannot explain this to an average American. It's sickening.
And when Congress considers items like this, the only country where this became a controversy was Israel. Last year, AIPAC, the American Israel Public Affairs Committee, committed $100 million specifically to unseat any congressman or woman that voted against the aid package to Israel last April. So Marjorie Greene and Thomas Massie, they have the America First position. They're against foreign aid to Israel. For that, they have become critics of Trump and his agenda, and they're out of MAGA. Reason number two, they both are calling for the release of the Epstein files. Once again, something that Trump himself promised. His son, the doofus, Don Jr., is at Turning Point USA saying, I'm on every FBI wanted list except the Epstein list. They promised this. They promised disclosure on the Epstein files for 6 years. Epstein died under Trump, and ever since Trump left office, Trump and his family and his boosters, all they could talk about was the Epstein files. Epstein didn't kill himself. Clinton was on the island. They promised to release them during the campaign. They went through the motions and tried to trick everybody this February. And now that Marjorie and Thomas Massie actually want the files, that's the other reason they're out of MAGA. Now, what have we learned? In order to be a part of the Trump movement and a part of MAGA, you have to support foreign aid to Israel. You have to be in favor of Trump's cover-up of the Epstein files. That's apparently now what MAGA means. MAGA used to mean three things. It meant no free trade, no foreign wars, no mass migration. That's what MAGA used to mean. And if you weren't on board with those things, you were out. And consequently, most of the GOP was out, and the Israel lobby was out. That's why Trump was criticizing Sheldon Adelson in 2015, and AIPAC, and the Israel lobby. Look up the tape, December 2015. Google Trump, Rubio, Adelson. It's all there. Anybody that was in favor of mass migration, foreign wars like Iraq, or free trade was out of MAGA. MAGA was smaller in DC, but it was bigger in America. That's the movement that had the mass following. That's the MAGA that people supported. Now, it's a precondition that you're in favor of covering up for an Israeli sex trafficking asset, and you're in favor of sending taxpayer money to Israel while we suspend foreign aid for every other country while we're running a $2 trillion deficit on top of a $38 trillion debt. That's now apparently what MAGA means, according to Trump.
Okay, and then I don't want to be part of the MAGA movement at all anymore. I didn't want to be part of it because like a few months ago I started to dislike Trump already about everything what he did. But this is now exactly, I don't have to repeat Nick Fuentes, but what he just said, just think about it. This is the MAGA movement, Make America Great Again movement. This is your Make America Great movement. What a joke, right? What an absolute joke. Donald Trump, the America First guy, the MAGA guy. Like, this guy is like anti-America almost. And I know it. Many people probably disagree with me because I know there are so many fanatics who support Trump still. Like, you have so many MAGA people who are so supportive to Donald Trump. And I kind of respect that. But I cannot take this serious anymore. And many people will probably disagree with me and be mad at me. That's all fine. But you should really think to yourself. Say this to yourself. Do you really want to support a movement who does this? Because this doesn't sound like America First, right? It doesn't sound like Make America Great Again. This sounds like make every other country in the world right, but not ourselves. Give money to almost every other country in the world, but not ourselves. And this is actually insane. I am Donald Trump. I'm gonna release the Epstein files. Why are you not doing this, Donald Trumpstein? Why are you not doing this? Come on. And it's like, seriously, it's just so frustrating that the average Americans, they're just getting played. They vote for this guy. They think he's gonna change our country. He's gonna be good for our country. He's gonna like make a better or give us a better life. And he does completely the opposite. And it turns out again that you can't trust him again, like almost every other politician. And he pictured himself as, no, I am different than them. I'm so different. You are not, dude. You're exactly the same, maybe even worse.
And, look, I hate to say it, but I told you so. This is why I jumped off the Trump train last year. And I will say it every single day. I don't care if you're sick of hearing it. I told you so. And I had people last year, friends of mine, tell me, you're being disloyal to Trump. No, you've got it wrong. Trump has been disloyal to us. What more do we owe this person? Seriously. How many of you got fired from your jobs, expelled from your school? How many of you got hit in the face, lost friends because you supported Trump? How many of you went to jail in the Capitol, lost a social media account? How much acrimony, how many problems has the Trump movement created in your life because you supported him? And how have we been repaid? Well, let's see. When BLM torched every city, Donald Trump let it happen because he thought it would be better for him in the election. Donald Trump was the father of the vaccine and the COVID lockdown. He didn't build the wall. As a matter of fact, he didn't even get illegal immigration under control. He gave Venezuelans TPS status before millions of them came here during the Biden administration. We were disloyal to Trump? No, Trump was disloyal to us. He did not use greatagain.org to fill his administration with his voters. He filled it with Bush and Rubio alum. He filled his White House with GOP staffers who cut taxes for the corporations and moved the embassy for Israel. He gave Ukraine lethal aid. He let BLM destroy the cities. He let Pfizer invent the RNA vaccine. And you say that Trump is owed our allegiance? What more do we owe this guy? Then, Trump is reelected in spite of it all. In spite of all of that cowardice and treachery, no wall, no mass deportations, we're still in Iraq. In spite of all that, he didn't even pardon his supporters that went to jail on his behalf, although he could have. In spite of all that, Trump is reelected while defending the vaccine and his legacy. And how does he repay it now? He immediately hires Sriram Krishnam, who wants to replace us with H-1Bs, John Radcliffe at CIA, Mike Waltz as the National Security Advisor. He attacks Project 2025. Then he bombs Iran. Then he cuts the corporate taxes again, buries the Epstein files. Serves you right. You trusted Trump. You can't trust Trump. He's not loyal. I had friends of mine say, "You're not loyal to Trump. We're still trusting the plan. Mr. President, I support you." And these people have watched as Elon has stopped supporting him, as Tucker has stopped supporting him, as Candace Owens has stopped supporting him. And now Marjorie Greene has stopped supporting. I guess they're all traitors. I guess they were all wrong. And what does Trump even stand for anymore? I said this earlier in the week. Trump is not the be-all, end-all. We supported Trump because of what he represented. We didn't vote for Trump because he was an obnoxious boomer. We voted for Trump because he was going to put America first. He was going to end mass migration, end the foreign wars, end free trade. He was going to end the globalist corruption in the government. Now none of that is happening. We do not have a tariff schedule. There are more wars now than there were at the start of all this. He's in favor of, they want to bring in more legal immigrants than ever. They want to keep the illegals here. They haven't even started on the wall. And now MAGA is about covering up for Epstein and doing Israel's bidding.
Nick is spot on this one. And seriously, Nick Fuentes for president. This guy is so smart and he really knows how to explain everything and how to say this. But again, how can you, if you're America first, how can you still be loyal to Donald Trump then? How can you still support this MAGA movement? If you hear all this, how can you still agree with Donald Trump? Everyone who is America first, they leave Trump behind. They don't want to have anything to do with him anymore. And do you think it's all them? Like what he just said, Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, Marjorie Greene. Do you think it's all those people, or do you think it's maybe Donald Trump himself? Because in 2016 he almost did exactly the same. Everyone was leaving him because Donald Trump is just like an borderline weirdo, if in my opinion. He doesn't want to listen to people who are real America first. He is maybe listening to his biggest donors who maybe live in another country, if you understand what I mean. And this is the only thing where he cares about. He is not even loyal to the United States, I feel like, at this point. He is doing completely the opposite as what many people want him to do. Why? kind of weird, right? And again, Donald Trump, I thought he could solve this country. He was good for this country. And he pictured himself as the savior of the United States. I'm gonna make America great again. I'm gonna be that guy. Bro, you didn't. You lied to us and you do completely the opposite as what you promised us. And everyone wants to leave him now. Or like he is like telling everyone to go because they don't agree with him. Because people, they really want to like release the Epstein files. People, they don't want to give billions to foreign countries anymore. And you should do this too, Donald. You should support this too if you're America first. And this shows you that Donald Trump is not America first.
No, Trump betrayed us. And that's, in some sense, it's not okay that he did it, but we will be okay. Because, and I've said this, when I'm down on Trump, there's no reason to be blackpilled because Trump was never the end condition. If you think he is, maybe you can construe that as blackpilling. I have always believed that Trump is the stepping stone to the next movement. He was a necessary bridge, a battering ram. He was an icebreaker, no pun intended. That was the point. There was a period of tightness. Everything was controlled and everybody was politically correct. And Trump broke down the door. And if he only did that, then that was a victory by itself. But as it has dragged on, it is transformed from we don't have high expectations to now it is a liability. That's why I said it's maybe perhaps better if Trump just sunsets because there's nothing new and dynamic. And as a matter of fact, he's betrayed his core principles. It doesn't mean that it was a mistake. It doesn't mean that Trump wasn't worth supporting at one time. It doesn't mean that Trump wasn't good on net. I think he was at a certain time. A necessary stage. But like a booster rocket, we now have to discard that first stage and advance to the next stage, which is a more explicit, yes, a more right-wing, a more radical version, which I would call America first. You go from MAGA to America first. Step one, step two. You go from sort of like a vague 1990s liberalism that says, you know, it's a cult of personality through personal loyalty to Trump. We're going to withstand the high pressure media attacks, political attacks. We're going to see the systems corrupt. We're going to destroy the system's legitimacy and their credibility and the rest of it. Prove that it's possible, show ourselves our own power, change the rules, do all these things, warm people up, move the Overton window to the right, change the GOP. Then we move on to America first. And now we say, well, why are we against mass migration? Because this country has an identity. Why are we against foreign wars? Because we have them, because we're under the control of a foreign lobby. We have a corruption problem. Who isn't putting America first in trade negotiations? Who isn't putting America first in war? And why? Because of the corruption of the money system. The money system has to give way to national power. We need a truly populist tyrant, a truly populist, true leader, a true executive to come in and clear out the corruption. The super PACs. Okay, the Citizens United super PACs, the hundreds of millions of dollars, the money that pours in from AIPAC in Adelson and Silicon Valley and Wall Street that captures the bureaucracy, that captures Congress, the government. This is why they're doing things that are good for capital, but not good for labor. They're doing things like bringing in cheap labor from India, which is good from the firms that employ them, but it's not good for the Americans that need the jobs. And the same goes for the seats at the universities. The same goes for the rest of it. MAGA was stage one in the booster rocket. This is stage two. We have to now graduate. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing disloyal. There's not a lack of continuity. People say you're not MAGA. True. I'm not MAGA anymore. I was MAGA, but I'm not anymore. I've moved beyond that. MAGA was sufficient for 2016, but it isn't anymore. Now we need something stronger. We need something more developed. We need something that is more sincere. We need America first.
And I completely, surprise, I completely agree with this whole idea. And I think we need Nick Fuentes as president for this reason. Like, for real, how can you disagree with this man? Like, again, I said this multiple times. You can say whatever you want about Nick. You can agree with him. You can disagree with him. That is all fine. But you can't call this man a liar. He is speaking some real facts. And I think it would be very good for our nation if Nick Fuentes became president or becomes the next president. Or next, I think he's quite young still. But maybe in the future Nick can be our president. It would be amazing. And I can't wait for that day. But I'm very curious about your whole opinion. Like, do you agree with Nick on this? Do you disagree with Nick? Do you still support Donald Trump, actually? Are you still part of the MAGA movement? I'm very curious. Please share your opinion in the comments. Very important to say, I read all comments, so I'm very curious. If you like this video, please hit the like button. If you really like this video, consider subscribing. I would really appreciate it. And last but not least, guys, I wish you all the best. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao!